here comes Success Coach Andy, the most beneficial advice program on the radio. For the next hour, you'll learn about success and happiness and how to take control of your life. And now, here's Success Coach Andy Shepherd.
This is Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd of Shepherd Success Coaching, here with you every Monday at 9 p.m. on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. For many people, there are areas in their life that are pretty dreadful, pretty dire, or just not going in the direction that we want. This show changes all of that. This show is all about transforming your life into the one you always wanted and shrugging away what you don't want. Be sure to listen in every week and tell your friends about it. The other day, someone said to me, Andy, you're like the Sherlock Holmes of solving problems that other solutions can't solve, that are unsolvable, and leave people in the dark. Well, yeah, that is pretty true. I mean, I have helped countless people to deal and to solve their personal problems and mysteries, things that have basically been with them all of their life. I met a person, for example, and within 30 minutes I found something that she didn't even know that she had. She'd had something that she'd been dealing with all of her life, and she didn't realize it was an issue. Once on the trail, there is no stopping me. Later in tonight's show, I will give you details on how I can free you from your Moriarty of a problem in a free 30-minute session. More on that later. I know that we're extremely saddened by the news of Robin Williams committing suicide. I know that I certainly am, and people that I connect with on Facebook and so on, we're still talking about it. So, initially we couldn't understand why a man so loved by all could have done such a thing. As a consequence, I'm dedicating the whole of this show to Robin Williams and specifically to the topic of suicide. So tonight's topic is going to be what we need to know about suicide to make you want to live. This is a very, very sensitive and emotional topic. I will cover as much ground as I can in the time permitted in this show. This subject is very deep and has many facets. Please feel free to contact me for further information. You may not agree with all that I say, and that is fine. Please ignore what you don't agree with and stay open to anything that sounds like it makes sense or resonates with you. This is really, really important, so please bear that in mind. Suicide is very distressing for those who are left behind, wondering what could have been done to stop it and to live with the loss of that person. I don't intend for the show to be depressing, though sometimes it may touch on a few raw nerves. By the end of the show, I'm going to show you many tools on how to turn things around and how to make sure that it doesn't happen for you and it doesn't happen for other people. Sometimes suicide can be it's kind of just asking for attention, okay? So we need to be careful with this as well because, this could turn into a real event of where somebody does commit suicide. If you've just tuned in, you're listening to Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. If you're contemplating suicide or know somebody who is, do something about it. Please contact me on 310-774-6691. That's 310-774-6691. Or email me at andy@successcoachandy.com. That's andy@successcoachandy.com. So, in tonight's show, I'm going to talk about why people commit suicide, what can be done so that they don't do this, and I'm going to give you a special message from someone who basically came back from the dead and why she is so grateful that she did and what her life means to her now. I'm dedicating this week's show to suicide for the following reasons. For people who might be considering suicide, to understand why they are contemplating such a violent solution to their problems. I'm going to also share with you how to turn it around if you're willing to make the shift. And this is the important thing, because it's down to you to make that shift. Ultimately, to permanently discourage you from anyone from committing suicide, because I want to show that there are alternatives. There are ways of getting out of wherever we are. I'm going to share with you some personal stuff as well. So, for example, I remember when I was a kid, I was going through a lot of stuff that I just couldn't deal with, and I thought about suicide. I never actually thought of going through the process, and it kind of was confusing to me. Why was I considering such a thing? And I realize now that basically I didn't want to kill myself. I didn't want to end. I didn't want to die. What I wanted to do was I just wanted it off. I just wanted it all to end. I just wanted whatever problem, whatever situation I was going through, whatever it was that I just couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel, I just wanted an end to that, and thought that perhaps suicide was an option. Thank goodness I never actually went through and did it. I was too frightened of dying, fortunately. And I think it was just a process I was going through. You know, when we're younger, we're exploring everything. So I'm fortunate that I didn't. So what I also want is from this show is for other people to understand why those who followed that path did so, to come to terms with personal experience as with people who did do it, and that is kind of like a big problem. It's a problem for those who have been left behind. It can be very difficult. There have been several people who contacted me personally and asked me to cover this subject, and so I've taken it on. And to be honest, it is something that I'm doing with a lot of trepidation. So, like I say, if you're getting upset with anything I'm saying, I'm not surprised. And what I want you to do is to just let go and just say, well, okay, we can't agree on everything. And you know what you don't agree with, just throw it away. And if there's something that you do find useful, great, then focus on that. So, I mean, I even had a message, for example, from a friend who said that her parents had died and how the family had made it a rule not to talk about it. And she wanted me to cover this subject because of this. And this is a really big point, basically. There are people who are, we're just not allowed to talk about. We're just not allowed to talk about this. It's like a really big taboo, and I think that is a big problem, because people who are contemplating suicide need to talk about it, and people who have committed suicide, it leaves a really big mark on the people that have left behind, and for them not to talk about it, have anybody to talk about it themselves, can be really, really problematic. So these two things need to be changed. We need to find a way to be able to talk about things. Even though, life is not pretty, there are times when, we go for an easy option. We've still got to do it. So people call me the Sherlock Holmes of success coaching. Set me hot on the trail of your Moriarty, your arch enemy of a problem, past or present, and free yourself from its troublesome hold forever. It will amaze you on how much I can track down in a free 30-minute session. That's right, especially for listeners on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. I'm giving away a 30-minute session for free. Call me on 310-774-6691. That's 310-774-6691. Or email me on andy@successcoachandy.com. That's andy@successcoachandy.com, and book your free investigation today. I'm Andy Shepherd of Shepherd Success Coaching. When we return, I'll talk about why people consider suicide and how to counteract this. You're tuned into Success Coach Andy on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX.
Are you experiencing frustration or desperation and you don't know the way out? There is a solution. There is light beyond the tunnel. Start to live life on your terms, the way you've always wanted. Visit SuccessCoachAndy.com. SuccessCoachAndy.com. Change can happen in an instant. To learn more about Andy's seminars or for opportunities to have him as your personal coach, call 310-774-6691. That's 310-774-6691. Since 1996, a second look at sports has been connecting the dots between sports and scripture. A second look at sports with host Dwight Allen is an outreach to sports fans around the world, featuring Christian athletes from high school, college, and the pros. Join host Dwight Allen every Sunday evening at 8:30 p.m. as he takes a second look at sports.
Doug Ducey says, judge me by my business record. Okay, here are the stone cold facts. Hundreds of Ducey's franchises started with loans backed by the federal government. That means you and me. 46% of these taxpayer guaranteed loans went unpaid when the businesses failed. Ducey pocketed millions in franchise fees. Taxpayers lost millions to pay the money back. Ducey's gain was taxpayers' loss. His business record? A costly taxpayer bailout. Doug Ducey doesn't deserve our vote. Paid for by Better Leaders for Arizona, not affiliated with any candidate or candidate's campaign committee.
I'm John Tesh. On the next Intelligence for Your Life, we'll talk about the link between how happy married couples are and how much they weigh. Also, I'll tell you about new research showing that the key to beating cancer is eating more garlic. Intelligence for Your Life, only on the John Tesh Radio Show. You're tuned into the 50,000-watt powerhouse, Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. Listen to me Saturdays at 10 p.m. or online at 1100KFNX.com.
The Brass Armadillo has two great locations in the Valley, I-10 and Dysart Road in Goodyear and I-17 in Cactus. If you're looking for great vintage home decor, then the Brass Armadillo has what you're looking for. We have one of the largest selections of vintage, retro, and rustic inventories in all of Arizona. We're open 9 to 9, 7 days a week to become your shopping paradise. The Brass Armadillo, two locations, I-10 and Dysart Road in Goodyear and I-17 in Cactus.
We got everybody talking about the Brass Armadillo.
Wings for Warriors salute the brave men and women of our armed forces. Help keep troop morale high with cards and emails from home. And remember, by giving blood generously, you can save the lives of one of these brave soldiers. Be a silent hero and give the gift of life. That's from Wings for Warriors, who says if you're a wounded vet or to donate your time, resources, or finances to help wounded veterans and our soldiers, visit wingsforwarriors.org. That's wingsforwarriors.org or call 888-598-4434. That's 888-598-4434.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on.
Welcome back to Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd of Shepherd Success Coaching, here with you every Monday at 9 p.m. on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. Tonight I'm talking about what you need to know about suicide to make you want to live. So tonight, like I've said already, this is a very, very sensitive subject. But I feel that this needs to be discussed, and a whole bunch of people agree with me. So you're not going to agree with everything that I say, and this could make you. There are things about suicide or what I'm going to talk about that might make you angry. You just don't agree with. Please, I want you to just throw them away. Just forget it. Maybe I'm not right about everything. I'm cool with that. But I'm hopeful that you can then just let them go and listen to the rest of what I have to say, because hopefully you'll find something that is useful to you and could potentially help somebody, as you give that information to them. I'm hopeful that at least one person doesn't commit suicide because of this show. If I've done at least that, the very minimum of that, then this has been useful. But I hope for much more than that, obviously. What I want to tell you about is, I just want to tell you a story that I heard, because this is amazing. This is something that I heard from a Tony Robbins event. It was about, at every Tony Robbins event, Tony turns around and he turns to the audience and he said, well, is there anybody out there who wants to commit suicide? And I've seen him time and time again help people. So he did. What happened was he was actually given a suicide note. This was by the wife of somebody. Now, unfortunately, this suicide, well, it was actually I think it was a private letter or something she'd found. It wasn't a suicide note, but it was something that this person was going to give later. And what it said was that the reasons why her husband was going to commit suicide, but okay, this is pretty shocking, but please listen to the end. There is a reason to this story. So he said that he wanted to kill his children, and he wasn't going to kill the wife. So he got the man to actually stand up and admit that he wanted to commit suicide, and he talked it through, and he said, why do you want to do this? And he said, he just didn't enjoy life anymore. And he said, well, how was life in the past? He said, well, I used to have great fun. He said, well, what do you really love doing? What did you love doing? What made you happy? And this guy, who looked like Father Christmas, he looked like the nicest guy you could ever see. He started to brighten up, and he said, hey, I love riding my Harley. And he said, well, why don't you ride your Harley anymore? He said, look, I've got kids. I've got a wife. I've got responsibilities. It's dangerous. A Harley David's dangerous. I can't ride this anymore. He said, okay, well, tell me what else you used to love doing. He said, I used to like making love to my wife. I used to do some real crazy stuff. And he said about one of his fantasies about what he loved to do. And Tony said to him, well, why don't you do that anymore? He said, I can't do this. It's like I'm a father and I'm responsible. I can't do this. He talked to him and he said, look, this has got nothing to do with you being a father. You can still ride a Harley Davidson. You're not going to do anything crazy. You're going to be safe. You're going to be a safe rider. You need to do this. And in the privacy of wherever situation, you need to be that wild man with your wife again. That's okay. You're married. You can do this. And so the man changed. He then started realizing that he could integrate who he was into being a father, and he stopped this desire to commit suicide and to do these terrible things. So what had happened to him was basically he had a blueprint of how his life should be. And when his blueprint wasn't being realized anymore, this is when everything started falling to pieces. So I'm going to talk more about this blueprint. This is really important. We have a way that we believe our lives should be, and this is something very, very key to why people want to commit suicide. Life is not going the way that they want it to, and so they think there's no alternative. But there always is an alternative, even when you can't see it. So please keep listening to the show, and I'll tell you more. If you just tuned in, you're listening to Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. People call me the Sherlock Holmes of success coaching. Send me hot on the trail of your Moriarty, your arch enemy of a problem, past or present, and free yourself from its troublesome hold forever. It will amaze you on how much I can track down in a free 30-minute session. That's right, especially for listeners of Independent Talk 1100 KFNX, I'm giving away a 30-minute session for free. Call me on 310-774-6691. That's 310-774-6691. Or email me on andy@successcoachandy.com. That's andy@successcoachandy.com, and book your free investigation today. Okay, so let's continue talking about what you need to know about suicide to make you want to live. So I'm going to tell you a personal story now. I'm going to tell you about a girlfriend that I had when I was in Brazil. Basically, this is pretty personal to me, so this is difficult, but I'm going to tell you because I need to. When we met, she was like an amazing woman, and everything really went well. We had a great relationship, and we dated for about 2 years, and there was a point when I guess, I don't know whether it was at the end of the relationship or what was going on, whether we were starting to part. I really don't remember now, but she started getting into some really bad depressions and started seeing a psychiatrist. She was taking medication for it, and basically it wasn't helping. I remember we were kind of parting. I was distancing myself from her while she was going, but she was going through the depression anyway. I didn't realize the two things might have been related. I remember one night where she actually asked me to kill her, and it was the most horrible thing that ever happened in my life, and it is something that still haunts me to this day. And just the horror of this is just terrible. So I realized that the one thing I needed to do was to hold her, so that's what I did. I just held her in my arms, and she calmed down, and everything was fine. I went to see her psychiatrist and talk to him and, tell him of the situation, and he didn't want to know. He said if I wanted to give him information and make sure it didn't happen. He said, well, if he wanted to talk to me, he was going to charge me. And, this was just such a terrible thing, because I wanted to, he was the one person who was supposed to be helping, and maybe the medication was wrong. So, anyway, when I look, at the time I wasn't a Tony Robbins certified coach, so I really didn't know how I could help her. I had no tools to deal with this. And, now, if I was in a situation which was like this, things would be very, very different. I would know that, basically, I would realize that she was doing this as an attention-seeking thing. She wasn't telling me the truth of what was going on. She was really saying, well, I don't want to go on in life because I don't have you. I need you. I need your love. That's what she was craving for. She was craving for love. And I guess, I got my business, and this is a terrible excuse. I guess I just wasn't paying attention. So the reason I'm telling you this is it's something that it horrifies me, this what happened. I just tell you this because I hope that you maybe think, well, okay, am I being aware of what's going on around me? Am I paying enough attention to somebody who has, is invested in me and that loves me? Because we don't know what's going on in another person's head, and this is something really critical. So definitely I'd like you to consider that. I'm going to talk a little later more about blueprint and what that is all about, because the blueprint is something really important. Like I gave you with the previous example of the guy who, he was kind of a bit wild at heart, but he was a nice guy, there's nothing wrong with that kind of thing if you do things in a controlled environment. And, so we've got to have the freedom to express ourselves in a healthy, there's a healthy way in some situations to deal with situations, so definitely something to consider. I'm Andy Shepherd of Shepherd Success Coaching. When we return, I'll tell you about someone who came back from the dead and why she's glad that the medics saved her life. You're tuned in to Success Coach Andy on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Greg Moore. President Obama talks about the chaos in Ferguson, Missouri, saying the Justice Department is doing an independent federal civil rights investigation into the death of Michael Brown. The Blaze Radio's Tom Peace reports.
Well, I understand the passions and the anger that arise over the death of Michael Brown. Giving into that anger by looting or carrying guns and even attacking the police only serves to raise tensions and stir chaos. It undermines rather than advancing justice.
conservatives on what they'd like to hear from the president.
What he should be saying is it's wrong. We're a democratic society, you don't do that. And I'd like to hear him say that ringingly, rather than saying on the one hand, on the other hand. We really have the law on the one hand, we have rioters on the other, and it isn't a hard choice between them.
That's conservative commentator Charles Krauthammer on Fox News Special Report.
ISIS terrorists pushed back from a strategic location. The Blaze Radio's Kay Long explains.
The Kurdish military saying its forces now in full control of Iraq's largest dam and the vicinity around it, successfully getting control back from the ISIS terrorists. Army Colonel Steve Warren with the Pentagon saying the airstrikes will continue.
We want to reduce the defenses, which will allow the ISF forces to conduct maneuver around the dam, and we want to prevent reinforcements.
The U.S. saying a breach of the Mosul Dam would be catastrophic. I'm Kay Long, The Blaze News.
So far, no arrest warrant for Texas Republican Governor Rick Perry, which means he'll continue plans to hop around the country, gearing up for a potential 2016 run for the White House, despite his indictment on 2 felony counts of abuse of power. Last week, Perry becoming the first Texas governor since 1917 to be indicted, Perry emphatically denying all wrongdoing. Attorney Tony Busby says the case against Perry has no merit. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network. Truth lives here.
Hi, everybody. Chad Reynolds from the KFNX Weather Center. As the monsoon season rolls on, moisture will stay in the valley for most of the week. Tonight, expect more isolated thunderstorms and a low of 77. For Tuesday, more showers with a high of 96. Chad Reynolds, Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Currently in downtown Phoenix, it's 93 degrees.
Next news in 30 minutes or when it breaks. Here on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
This station is the new home of the Blaze Radio News. Stories that other news outlets won't touch.
This is news
every hour. News
from the Blaze Radio Network.
The Blaze Radio Network. Truth lives here.
Hi, this is Connie Salika. Tune into my show, Intelligence for Your Health, right here on Independent Talk. 1100 KFNX, Sundays at 10 p.m.
Since 1980, Information Methods Incorporated has been a leader in technology consulting. The management experience of IMI's prime consultants and associates includes years of expertise in both public and private sectors. From assigning a project management officer to a complete end-of-project post-mortem, IMI applies industry standards and our own custom methodologies to ensure your next technology project is a success. For details and example solutions, visit www.imi-us.com. We measure our success by your success. Your partner, IMI.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims of their business or practices themselves.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
An effective defense often hinges on subtle and sophisticated strategies, on things such as business valuations, income allocations, and tax income projections. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills. By the way, unless you're in Missouri or Illinois, I'm not licensed in your state, but that's okay. Our attorneys in your state are.
Call Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Arizona attorneys, a partner men can count on. 602-995-6666. That's 602-995-6666. Offices in Scottsdale, Chandler, and downtown Phoenix. 7150 East Camelback Road, Suite 444, Scottsdale, Arizona, 85251.
Doug Ducey says, judge me by my business record. Okay, here are the stone cold facts. Hundreds of Ducey's franchises started with loans backed by the federal government. That means you and me. 46% of these taxpayer guaranteed loans went unpaid when the businesses failed. Ducey pocketed millions in franchise fees. Taxpayers lost millions to pay the money back. Ducey's gain was taxpayers' loss. His business record? A costly taxpayer bailout. Doug Ducey doesn't deserve our vote. Paid for by Better Leaders for Arizona, not affiliated with any candidate or candidate's campaign committee.
Roofing is very simple if you can see what the problem is. Hi, this is Jack the Roofer. We offer a free, detailed, no obligation estimate. Pictures, easy to read, easy to understand. It's not a number scribbled on a card. We give you a detailed proposal of everything that we're going to do, simplified so you understand what's being done. Jack the Roofer, 602-996-7443, 602-996-7443.
Or email jacktheroofer@cox.net.
It's a beautiful day.
Welcome back to Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd of Shepherd Success Coaching, here with you every Monday at 9 p.m. on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. Tonight I'm talking about what you need to know about suicide to make you want to live. So I just want to say this topic is something that is pretty sensitive. So I know that there's probably a few of you out there who are probably not in a really good place at the moment. Well, I just want you to hang in there, okay? It is possible to have better things. Whatever your situation is, things will get better. So please keep listening. I have had a few phone calls already. I'm not going to be able to answer them all tonight. I have listened to your messages, and I am going to get through to you, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to do it tonight. But definitely you will get a call tomorrow, so please hang in there. You're going to be fine. Some of the things that I'm going to say today are, you're not going to agree with everything that I say, okay? That's fine. I just want you to let it go, just throw it away. It doesn't matter. I'm certain that there are a few things that I'm going to say which are going to be useful to you, so please grab hold of those and use them if you can. Now I'm just going to talk about a dear friend of mine who attempted to commit suicide. Basically, she had a very difficult, non-supportive childhood, and she had two special needs kids. She gave birth to them. Basically, there was nobody to listen to her. She had so much difficulty, it's unbelievable. She got to a point where her husband had left her, the government stopped paying all of her benefits, and she's just left completely alone. She has nobody to talk to, nobody to turn to, no income, two kids, and, you know, she just couldn't bear it anymore. So the only option she had was to attempt to commit suicide. She said that she woke up in the morning to find tubes down her throat, filling her stomach with active charcoal to absorb all of the poisons. Now, just keep listening. There is a positive side to this, okay? I'm saying some pretty tough stuff here, but please, everything that I'm saying has got a positive end to it, so please keep listening. So she said that she was heartbroken when she opened her eyes and she realized she was still alive. Imagine being in that situation. She said that now she sees the opportunity, she has an opportunity to enlighten others, to help others at risk, because she can truly bond with them, because she knows how they feel, she knows how it is. And she says, I am glad that I had these challenges. It has given me insight and opportunity for growth for me and now to help others. Our journey was meant to help others. That's the purpose. And this is a really key message. This is something that's very, very important. It's all about being able to transform your situation. That is the key to it all. That is the secret to it. If we can transform, we're going to be fine. That's really what we need to do. And I'll continue talking about that and give you more information. So if you've just tuned in, you're listening to Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. People call me the Sherlock Holmes of success coaching. Set me hot on the trail of your Moriarty, your arch enemy of a problem, past or present, and free yourself from its troublesome hold forever. It will amaze you on how much I can track down in a free 30-minute session. That's right, especially for listeners on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX, I'm giving away a 30-minute session for free. Call me on 310-774-6691. That's 310-774-6691. Or email me on andy@successcoachandy.com. That's andy@successcoachandy.com. And book your free investigation today. So when I was in Brazil, I remember a day when everything had hit rock bottom. I was convinced myself that there was no way to change a thing. And I can't stand it when I can't see another path. I can't see another door opening. I don't have a plan B. This drives me up absolutely nuts. And I'm sure it does to other people. And for example, with Robin Williams, I feel that that is possibly how he thought. I know a lot of people have been troubled with this. What happened to him? Well, you know, he got diagnosed as having Parkinson's disease. And for him, this must have been unbearable because his trademark was his lightning wit, his ability to be able to think rapidly, to react rapidly, to speak quickly. And to lose that was just too much for him. So, you know, there are times when there is an immovable force. We're born with things that we can't change. Napoleon Hill, for example, had a son without no ears, and he was able to live a normal life, and he transformed it. Basically, he found they invented a technology, a special hearing aid, and then the impossible became possible. He was able to hear again. I know that if you're in a bad place at the moment, then listening to this is probably, you're not listening to me, you're not hearing me. But, you know, this is a shame because this is what will make the difference. You know, you've got to believe that the days will get better. Another day is another day. For example, with Robin, the same thing happened to Michael J. Fox. And he now dedicated his life helping people to deal with Parkinson's. And this could have been an amazing thing if Robin Williams could have done the same. Now, please, I'm not judging him. God bless the man. We all love him. And I'm deeply, deeply moved at what happened. And I just wish that things could genuinely have been different. So, you know, it's all about doing everything that we can to carry on, even though things are not the way we want them to be. So, and a person who did this, for example, is Nick Vujicic. I can't pronounce his name. He's Vujicic. I need to find out how to say that guy's name. Basically, the guy was born pretty much with no arms and no legs, and he's now a motivational speaker and of the highest order. And you know, he's got a kid, and his life is pretty amazing. And, you know, how do we get to having that kind of mindset? Well, it starts with you. You have to make that difference. You have to turn around and say, I am going to make it happen. I'm going to be that difference. I'm going to go forward. I'm not accept where I am. I believe that where I am now is impossible to change. That is your belief, but it's not the truth. I've been in many situations where I thought it was impossible. I remember a time, for example, being in America, I had $11, and I thought, I can't feed myself. I've got nowhere to live. What am I going to do? And things change from one day to another. When I got to the point where I just said, no, I'm going to change this, then this is when the magic started happening. And this is what you need to do. You need to say, I am going to find a way to be happy no matter what. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to shake off this thing that I really don't like. I'm not accepting this. I'm going to find a way out of this. And sometimes life isn't exactly the way that we want it to be, and maybe it never will be, but we need to find a way to transform it, like Nick did, and like Michael J. Fox did. We need to find a way to transform, a way to change things, a way to make something meaningful, to make something good. I'm Andy Shepherd of Shepherd Success Coaching. When we return, I'm going to talk about how to turn things around and make sure you never want to commit suicide. And I'll give you a free 30-minute Sherlock Holmes track down. You're tuned in to Success Coach Andy on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX.
Here's what Sandy Barrett, a realtor here in the Valley of the Sun for 32 years, had to say about Jack the Roofer.
You know what? He is the only call I make when I have a roof issue. I've been a realtor for 32 years. He is on time. He is clean. He is precise. He's always prepared. I've known him about 20 years. He's the best. Never met anybody that's more on their game and more willing to be of service. Because, you know, anybody can get anything done anywhere. But when somebody's willing to go the extra mile, and I've seen him do it time and again, he's just the best. I love him as a human being and as a roofer. He's just great. If somebody else tells you you need this, that, and the other thing, and he can do it a different way and have it be more economical, he will for you.
Get your roof fixed right the first time and get it fixed before monsoon season. Call Jack the Roofer, 602-996-7443. That's 602-996-7443. Are you experiencing frustration or desperation and you don't know the way out? There is a solution. There is light beyond the tunnel. Start to live life on your terms, the way you've always wanted. Visit SuccessCoachAndy.com. SuccessCoachAndy.com. Change can happen in an instant. To learn more about Andy's seminars or for opportunities to have him as your personal coach, call 310-774-6691. That's 310-774-6691.
Retire without worrying about money. Wouldn't it be great if you could retire without having to worry about running out of money? Wayne Candace, the top financial advisor in the country for MetLife, also a certified financial planner practitioner and host of Your Financial Plan, can help. Wayne will even meet with you one-on-one, free of charge, to help you develop a strategy that fits your lifestyle. Stop wondering if you'll have enough to retire on. Schedule your no-cost financial strategy session with Wayne Candace today. Call 480-ON-TAP-88 now. Due to high demand, a limited amount of appointments are available. Call to book yours before we book up. Dial 480-ON-TAP-88. That's 480-ON-TAP-88. The plan for your retirement and financial future is only a call away. Dial 480-ON-TAP-88. That's 480-ON-TAP-88. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, securities, products, and investment advisory services are offered by MetLife Securities, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC, and a registered investment advisor. MLIC and MSI are MetLife companies.
Hi, Rick and Dave here.
The Elton Brothers on KFNX.
Have you ever pulled in front of a listing, can't get a hold of anyone, and just wanted more info and photos?
That's so annoying.
Well, we have an app for you.
Simply text Elton to 32323.
It's completely free and downloads right to your mobile device.
So any real estate sign across the valley.
Text Elton to 32323 and get all the MLS info right to your phone.
Immediately.
The Elton Brothers, Realty One Group, putting real estate in the palm of your hand.
It's mine.
Welcome back to Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd of Shepherd Success Coaching, here with you every Monday at 9 p.m. on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. Tonight I'm talking about what you need to know about suicide to make you want to live. So, as I keep saying, this is a very emotional subject, so I don't expect you to agree with everything I say. So whatever I say you don't agree with, just ignore it. Just, just accept, well, maybe we don't agree on a few things. Let it go. And I hope you can be open to a few things, and maybe you'll find something in here that could be useful for you or useful to somebody else. Like I say, anybody who's calling me, I'm not sure. It's pretty late here, so I don't know if I'm going to get through to you tonight, but I will get through to you tomorrow. So hang in there and, try out a few of the things that I'm saying here. So let's look at things that we can change. We can change our mindset, basically. And I think this is the greatest problem that anybody who's depressed or is feeling suicidal, because depression often is like a downward spiral. It's like if you go to a rock concert, you get happier and happier and happier and happier, and it just gets bigger and bigger. Well, unfortunately, depression is the same. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but it's not an emotion which is very useful to you. The more destructive that you're feeling, the more destructive that you're going to get. And so being able to control this mindset is something that is essential. And I know that it's difficult. I remember when I was a teenager, I had some really black moods. And I'm not comparing. Maybe, the way that you're feeling is, much more than I could ever imagine. I'm certain of that. So, but, at the end of the day, the biggest thing that we need to be able to do is to change our state, to change our mind, to change the way we're thinking and feeling about things. And so that is definitely something to consider and look at and find out how to do it. I told you before that I studied a lot of Buddhism, and the one thing that we said here was, you always be happy. Esther Hicks is always be happy. This is really important. We have to find a way. And sometimes I'm sorry, you're probably not going to like this, but I got to say it because I want to help you. If we are feeling bad, it's kind of like we're trying to get attention. We're trying to get. What we're doing is let's look at this a different way. Forget what I just said. What we're doing is, because we're thinking of ourselves, we're kind of like we're asking for love from outside. And when we give attention to ourselves, it's like we're giving ourselves love, even though it's not a good feeling. So we need to bear that in mind. And you may be saying, hey, Andy, you don't understand me. You're saying I'm depressed because I need love? Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're really feeling loved and your life is going the way you want it and the blueprint of your life is right, then you're not going to feel bad, are you? So these are things. And so you may say, well, how am I going to find love? And, well, hey, that's a bigger thing. But it's not impossible. As a coach, I can help you with that. Or if you don't want to go through a coaching side, then maybe a therapist can help. But these are things to look at. If you've just tuned in, you're listening to Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. People call me the Sherlock Holmes of success coaching. Set me hot on the trail of your Moriarty, your arch enemy of a problem, past or present, and free yourself from its troublesome hold forever. It will amaze you on how much I can track down in a free 30-minute session. That's right, especially for listeners on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. I'm giving away a 30-minute session for free. Call me on 310-774-6691. That's 310-774-6691, or email me on andy@successcoachandy.com. That's andy@successcoachandy.com, and book your free investigation today. So, talking more about prevention. So, I talked about being happy. Another situation would be, in the past, I had a girlfriend that I truly, truly loved, and we separated. There was no way we were going to go back, and it really, really hurt like heck. And I was miserable every day for 2 years. This is years and years ago, before I'd really started working on my mind. The only thing that I knew was that one day that pain would go away. That's the only thing. And that's the one thing that you must take away with you. You must know that one day things will get better. It doesn't matter how black or bad it is. I promise you that life can get better. Definitely, whenever you're having good times, life is cyclical. There's ups and downs. So when we've got good things happening, we need to record them. Like, the ultimate in 4D, but it's like more than this because you use all of our senses to record this. And when we're not having a good time, then go back and look at that, not with pain, but enjoy the moment and say, fill yourself with joy about this. But this is all about, this takes training to change our minds, to be able to make this shift. And this is a process, and it's not going to happen overnight. If you're used to being depressed, then it's going to take a while to make a shift. I'm sorry to tell you that. You may need a coach or you may need a therapist. You need to do something that is going to help you to find out what your dreams and passions are. And you need to commit to finding them and do whatever it takes to do that. So, if you're living in a situation which is really, really bad for you, you've got to find a way out of there. So you need to remove yourself from wherever you're living or whoever you're with. And not do it in a violent, bad way, but to do it in a way that is good for everybody, for the better of all. Unfortunately, life is going to throw you through a few curveballs. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. You just need to know how to be able to deal with them. Journal what you really want. Journal what your passions are. You can live them. You can become them. I'm living the dream. I moved to Brazil. I lived in a beautiful country. Had a great life there. Now I'm living in America. I've been here for a couple of years now. It's a fabulous place to be. We never know what is possible. Journal down this, write it all down, and write down all of the successes that you've had, everything that you've been successful in your life, driving license, even your swimming certificates, employee of the month, that, whatever you did. It doesn't have to be, I got this degree or diploma or whatever. It's all relevant. Write it all down, and write down the things that you've done, the things that positive that you've done, and write little messages to yourself that when you're feeling good, so that when you're feeling bad, you can read it and reassure yourself. This might seem like mumbo jumbo, but try it. It really does work. It can really help you. This is kind of preventative stuff here. By doing that, you can really make a difference to go forward, and that's what it's all about. So I really recommend that. Maybe, so like I say, we've been talking about what you need to know about suicide to make you want to live. Tonight I talked about some of the reasons why people commit suicide. I gave you several cases and possible reasons why they did what they did or thought what they thought. To stop contemplating suicide, I talked about journaling our successes, and I talked about finding out what you want from life, that we should do, and what you want to achieve, and commit to living it. And when you can't, you need to find some way of transforming your life, some way of making it meaningful. When we're presented with something that you believe is impossible to solve, this is really important. We must open our minds to other possibilities. We need to seek somebody we can talk to. Even if you think there's not, you need to find somebody that will talk to you. And where all possible, pray, connect to a higher source. People call me the Sherlock Holmes of success coaching. Set me hot on the trail of your Moriarty, your arch enemy of a problem, past or present, and free yourself from its troublesome hold forever. It will amaze you on how much I can track down in a free 30-minute session. That's right, especially for listeners on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. I'm giving away a 30-minute session for free. Call me on 310-774-6691. That's 310-774-6691. Or email me on andy@successcoachandy.com.
You're listening to Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.